Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on discovering the new Jahia Studio. It is our Jahia 7 Developer course, part 2 of 3. So as this webinar is the second in a series of 3, please don't forget to book your seat for the third webinar, which is on May 6th. You can see all the information on our website, jahia.com. So in part 1, we showed you how to create a module from scratch using the Studio and showed you how the new Studio tools work. We did a step-by-step example of how to create a module, then exact examples of creating a primary node, a mixin, a view, etc. So in this presentation, we will continue working in the Studio using these new integrated development tools. And we'll do this to modify an existing module that currently resides outside of my Jahia instance. And then after our work is complete on the module, we'll release the module to a code repository. So here I have my locally installed Jahia Digital Factory 7, and I'm going to use a password, a user Bill today, and not the root, so we can see Bill's name on screen. You'll see why. Let me log in, and here I am on my dashboard. And as Bill, I have access to the Studio. Well, I gave myself access here, so let's go to Studio. Now, let me launch this module creation, and then it takes a minute, and then I'll explain the project. So we want to get a module from sources that exist outside of Jahia. And a reminder that Jahia 7 is now integrated with Git and SVN. So here I have my personal GitHub. This could be my company, this could be a colleague I could access to, and this is the module I want to get. Like I said, I want to launch this, and we'll create this module inside Studio. So let me explain the project that we're working on here. So I get a module, a currently existing module from the repository on GitHub. It's called XYZ News. It's a news module. And let's say one of my coworkers started working on this, and now it is my job to continue the work on this module, and then to deliver this module to my company's app store so it could be easily installed on, let's say, the QA environment and be tested. So we have a module created, and here we are on the module details page. We have basic information on top. Here's the version. Just 1.0 snapshot, so my coworker hasn't done a release. They just created the first version snapshot of this module. On my site, on my installation, I have a few sites installed. Again, you can simply click the button Enable and get your module working on one of these sites. So since we're not creating a module from scratch, we have to figure out what's going on in this module. Here I have 2 declared node types. Something called XYZ components and something called XYZ news. So again, a reminder that here on the left in Studio, we have channel buttons, and the first one is for the file system of the module. So we could just drill down and see what's going on in here. And we see a definitions file. We could take a quick look at that. So here's my two node types being defined. If we open up this tree structure here, we can see those node types. And we click on one, and we have an overview of what this node type is about. So it has a title, and it has a mixin of droppable content. So this, I can tell, is my custom component category for XYZ components. And I'm guessing that the news is in there as well. So clicking on this primary node type, we can see by the icon here, it's a node type of primary type, and here's a mixin. So I have a title here, all the information for this node type, and here's a table of the properties as they exist. So we have a title, a body, and an image. Looking down here in my module, I see a folder, XYZ News, with an HTML folder inside. So these are my views from my module. If I click on this one here, so I have a default because it's named xyznews.jsp, and I have one with detail. So this is like our example we created from scratch the last time. I can quickly see that my default view is displaying the title of the content and then getting the URL for the content and presenting it as a link to the user. And in my detail view, I can see I'm going to display an image and then the body. Okay. So what we want to do is enable this module on a site. So first, let's create a site. So I can go to my dashboard, and on my web project panel, I have a button to create a new web project. And we're going to create a site called XYZ Manufacturing. That's the client for the XYZ news. I'll set it as default. And we're going to use the sample bootstrap templates that Jahia delivers. You can use these. And here we'll click on our module so we can install the module on the site. We could have installed a site with no modules and then gone to the module details page in Studio and enabled that on the site. So let me go here, and I can quickly go to edit mode. So let's look a little bit at edit mode and about this site. So those of you that know Jahia 6.6 and earlier know that our administration is kind of a module outside of the edit, particularly the edit mode. Sorry. And here, what we've done is brought all the site settings for an individual web project site inside edit mode, so you can easily administer your site settings here inside edit mode. So this means that you can run the link checker right here. You can create site roles. You can see all your vanity URLs in a dashboard right here. You could create a group, create a new group here. Remember that users are universal to the whole application, but groups are for site. So it's very clear where you should create your groups. And then with the sample bootstrap templates, we have something here that I can show you. We have this customization UI. So here in this UI, I can customize my template set, the look and the feel, the background of the scaffolding, what color my link should be, all the typography. And I can even click on this advanced form button and work in pure CSS encoding. So font like this and my colors with the number sign in front of it. And what I want to do quickly in this example is show you this page where I can update the logo. So here's my logo in a folder here, and there we go. If I go back to edit mode here, my sitemap, I can see that my logo's been updated. So once we've done that, let's go back to thinking about our module. And so we wanted to create a news page and then create some news content on it. We'll create a news page, and we'll create, I only have 1, 2, or 3 column page templates for this sample bootstrap template set. So here's my 2 columns set up with an absolute content area here. If I put something in there, any sub-pages will have that content. To make this pretty, I can drop an image in here. And I have to upload these images because I just created this site. So I have to see here, put this manufacturing image in. Save. There we go. So now let's, in this area here, on the page content area, we'll activate that, and we'll create some Acme News there, or XYZ News. So here I see my component category, so that looks okay. Right away I see that my my content type of XYZ News, the label could be a little bit better, so I'll make a note of that. And here's my edit engine window, and I see this JSTR title, which again I should work on the labels for this. So I'll make note of that. And here I'll go up into my clipboard so I can find some Latin. There we go. And I'll upload an image. I'll upload the Jahia logo. And we save. So, as I suspected, the default view is showing the title, and with a link to what we hope is the detailed view presented with all the properties. So let's go to mode preview, and I'll open that, and here I have it in a tab here. So this looks good, and if I click here, I have 404. So I know that something's wrong with the content template that was created to do this, or maybe it's just missing. So again, we want to work on some labels, and we want to look at that content template. So let's go back to Studio via the Mode menu. And this looks okay. We said the corner category. Let's right-click on the tree here and edit. And now we're in what's called the modeler, where we build the properties, we set the primary node type, super type, we can add mix-in, and so forth. So here's my title of my node. This is what I see when I drag drop from the component library. So I definitely want to update this. Let's call it this. And going in the properties, I just want to check that everything looks okay. Now, best practice is to, for all non-mandatory properties, if the property is not mandatory in your views, you should check if they're empty or not, so you can correctly build your page. So here I'm going to make this property mandatory. And remember, all the way down here at the bottom, we have the label that will be shown in edit mode. And these are also automatically added to the resource bundle, so you can internationalize everything, have your different language resource bundles working with these labels. Click on body here, and we won't change anything on the properties there, the options, I mean, for the property. I'll update this. And image, of course, I would like this to be mandatory. So here we go. And we'll call this news photo even, just to be different. I'll save those. So again, here's my XYZ news entry node, and here are the properties, so I can see that only the body one is not mandatory. So I will go to my view, where I display, focus in a little bit here. Here's where I display that body property. So let's edit this view. Here we are in the Composer. If you missed our first webinar, this is our integrated script editor, which uses code highlighting, and also we provide snippets for you. So once I hit edit, I'm locked down this file, and I can go to conditionals, and all my properties will have a conditional listed with this code snippet. So I'll say, it's not empty body for the new property, add that. Now I was able to quickly just drop in a see if and if. Let's just put our code back in between that here. I like to indent nicely. There we go. And easily done. So we got those few things done. So that's, I wanted to show you how to take in an existing module and work in the modeler for the properties, and know that you can easily create new views by right-clicking on the tree here, and you can add a new view. You can edit any file in this tree, remember, the CSS files, what have you. Let me go back like this. So now, I said we suspect there's something wrong with the content template that is supposed to deliver the details of the XYZ news entry content. So here on the second tab is where we see the the templates for our module. And usually when we're talking about this example here, a module will have this content template. It's usually the only template in here, and I see that there is absolutely no template. So we need to create it. So we can right-click and choose new. Right-click and choose new content template. So we'll call this XYZ News. And now let's see what we have in here. Here's our XYZ News entry. Remember, I changed the name of our news node primary type, the label. So we see that working. Of course, we want to be able to use it by default, so this all works, and if it required. So we'll save that. And now we just have this page content area, which we would like to activate. And in this example, let's just create the minimum necessary to get this module working, and then we'll come back and improve on it. So the minimum that we need is just to add a main resource display and select the view detail. And these views listed in here are because this content type is for nodes of type XYZ News entry. So the view list here will be populated with any views I created in my studio. And here we go, and we'll save. That's all we need. Now, if we need this to be available in live mode, we would need to go back to our File System tab here and click on this Compile button. Here, remember, I have my site in preview mode, and this is where I was supposed to see that content template. So let's just refresh, and there it is. So you can see how quick you can develop these kinds of modules. Again, I need to compile if I want to work in live mode, but I'm just in preview, and I just want to see what's going on. So here's my detailed view of my XYZ News, and there's that logo I put in there, and so it's showing the image, and here's the body. Now, this could be improved. Text is kind of all the way up to the side here. I also don't have a back button to get back to that news list. And let's say the project specifications say that I need to make this a little bit more interactive, and we want people to be able to leave comments on these news entries. So that's easily done. We'll go back to Studio, and here we are, like I said again, in our content template. And so this GUI for Studio here for creating templates has been improved. We have a listing here, a tree structure, so you can see what is inside what here. And again, I draw your attention to this new structure view versus in context view. And of course, when the structure view is the skeleton of our template. And if I click in context, it will try to get all the CSS it can, or it will get all the CSS possible to show me how this is going to be rendered. And you can see our footer coming in here. So here's what we want to do. We want to make this bootstrap, this content template. This is on a theme of Bootstrap, and templates are Bootstrap. So just putting this main resource display in here inside of page content, we saw that text was not really that pretty. So let's go to the panel button here called Dependencies. And you can add or remove dependencies simply with a drag and drop. So here we have Jahia Bootstrap and the components. And as you might guess, and Jahia Bootstrap components depends on Jahia Bootstrap, so we'll just bring those over. And we'll go back to here. And if we click here on any content, let's see what we have for layout components. And I know I'm looking for a Bootstrap layer. This will allow me to create a predefined row and columns. I'll click there. So Bootstrap works on a system of 12. So I want the news on 8, and then the space over here on 4. So here I have, again using this here. So here's my main resource display that I created with the detailed view of the news component. And here's my new row with 2 columns that I'm going to activate so I can add content. And here's what I want to do. I want to move that into here. I can do a cut, and then I see that the paste button appears, so this is where I want that. There, easily done. Over here, I activated this. Now let's look at our component library. Under social components, we have commentable and display comments. So we want people to be able to add comments. We just drag that over, oops, and save there. And if we allow for comments to be added, we should most definitely display those comments in lit. We don't need to add anything there. So what we want to do is link these two up. Little pin here that allows you to find these two components. In case another component comes in here, and we definitely want this to be linked to the news, the comments. So again, we have this in context view. So let's see how this is looking. Here's what my comment entry form will look like, and we're going to have, oops, you know what I did? I added the categories instead. Easily done. I can delete, and now it's like it never existed there. What I want to do is display the comments, not the categories. So I'm in context view, but I can still drag and drop. You don't have to be in the structure view. So this is going to show a comments list here. And I said I wanted a back button as well. So here's my site components. Let's drag that here, and we'll say back previous page. And save. I know from experience that this back button will be right up against that content. So what I want to do is add like a horizontal line, maybe make it look prettier. So that's just easy to do in a rich text. It's a basic rich text with the WYSIWYG editor, which allows me to add this horizontal line here. I can even click on here and add a space. And you can go to the source and see what's going on there. So that's what I want. And I actually want it to be between the back button and the content. So working in context, I can see what's going on with these components. Going back to structure, I don't have to worry about it. I can see here. So everything looks great, and like I said, we need to compile this so this is available in live mode. But let's just quickly go back to our tab where we have preview mode open. And here is my new content template. It's one row with two columns. It is responsive, because here's my comments on the bottom here. We have comments here. I can add a comment. I can see my comments are being displayed. Here's my back button. Here's my line here. And let's go back. And here's my news. Let's make sure the link works. Going back here. And there we go. So that was how to easily work in Studio from a module that already exists, creating the content template. That's what I wanted to show you there. Now, what we want to do is talk about releasing this module. We've done all our, excuse me, our work. Now I want to talk about getting this module to our code repository. So let's go back to Studio. We'll go up here. And each Jahia instance here, anywhere, can be linked to one or several code repositories, app stores. Okay? So that way, administrators and even developers working can browse those app stores, and they can see new modules. They can see all the versions of modules that have been pushed to the app store, released to the app store. They can quickly install and update modules on their environment with one click. So even though I'm working here on my own local installation of Jahia, I can push this module. I can release it to my company's app store. So under the distribution menu, I'm going to do release module here. And I need to tell the app store a URL. So if I go to the app store page, I'm going to log in as my user. Better way to go. Here we go. I'll cheat here. So on my dashboard, now the private app store is installed as a site on Jahia. So I'll just click live here and here. This is my company's private app store. And there are already 2 modules on it. And Bill, as a developer here, can click here or drag and drop jar modules, release versions onto the App Store, and then fill in the information, the installation, the facts, the guides, and so forth. So let's go back here to Studio. And what we want to do is release this, here's what I want to do. This is my private app store, and this is the URL. So it's always here for you to copy to the board. And if I go back to Studio, let's see the repository information. So that looks okay there. Make sure I have the right URL. And here's my username. So now this module has the distribution information, the repository information. So anytime I want to release here, I can just click on release, and I can then choose the next iteration. So am I releasing 1.0? Yes, that's what I want to do. So my next iteration will be 1.1 snapshot. And here's my URL for the App Store and my login, and I just click release. And this will take a moment. So while that's releasing, I'll mention that on Jahia, here, you can go to store.jahia.com at its public site, and this is our public app store. Now, by default, any installation of Jahia you make will have the link to this. You can easily just set this up in administration, and then your Jahia instance will always have access to this. And that's great because while you're in administration, you could just look at these modules and install them with a click of a button. Now, our next webinar will go more into detail about administration, the new administration of Jahia, and we'll work more on the App Store. Okay? So let's see how our release is doing. I'll just be a minute here. Now, Jahia is releasing this, is doing the release process silently, and compiling the version of my module, and it's registering in the private app store. That's what is going on behind the scenes. So my file's ready to download. I can click on this and have the jar locally, and I can quickly install that jar on another Jahia if I want to. But I want to show you, now we're in this app store here. It's the same app store on this other link, so we'll get more screen space here. So so here's my XYZ News, and this is what I released to the App Store. Here's my user, and this is how developers start building their information for their modules on their App Store. First, I want to upload an image because it, of course, makes it look pretty. Here's news on news GIF I put on there. So here, let me focus in a little bit more here so you can see. So here's the developer panel, and there's a to-do list, and you have a progress bar. And as I complete these tasks, the progress bar will go higher towards 100%. So this is mandatory to have a category. You need a category because, as we saw here on any app store, you're facets are turned on. So it's a great way for people to just turn on, for example, social and see all the social modules that are available. So let's go back to our app store, which is here. This is my private app store. And I'll select category. And I already created some things here. So here's a news category that I'll put on there, and I'll check the box. The check, and now that's good. And we saw that my progress bar, there's nothing red, so I've done all the mandatory tasks. But it's nice to have a lot of these tasks done. So let's go through here. So on overview, of course, we can edit this description. You should have your email address in here. I don't have an email address for Bill in the application. And any Jahia modules will connect you to Jahia.com, but of course you could put the developer's website. Next, we can upload screenshots to help people see what's going on with our module. The third tab, we can add a video. Videos are a great way to show people quickly how to use something. So here you can do a YouTube video and then upload it here with your module on the store. We'll look at reviews in a minute. So there's no reviews of this module yet. I can say how to install, of course. I'm just putting text in here to have it, and we save. And here my progress bar is augmenting. Facts are always good to have for a module. And of course, you can make this as pretty as you want. We have a small editor in there. And here's the version. Now, the people coming in here will see this download version 1 as soon as I publish this, of course. So down here, we can click on this View As, and we can start seeing how someone would see this if they came up on this module. And they can't download anything because I haven't published yet. So let me turn that off. And I'm going to publish this version 1.0 of my XYZ News module. So now let's see what someone sees. Okay, so when people have access to this web store, this app store, they could click on XYZ News. We're going to go back to the logo. Here we go. Shows all the different modules. Using facets, here's the news. And they click on the module. And now they can download this version. So let's just release that one more time so I can show you that you have many versions and how to work with the different versions. Again, this will take a minute. So we will, let's look at one that's a little bit more complete. This is, of course, a Jahia module. So as I'm just browsing this store as a developer, we saw that I could upload a module, but here this is not my module. So I only see this overview. I could go to the developer's website, the developer being Jahia. I can download the version, but here I can give it a review. And I rate it and submit a review. So you can have people rating your module. And there's only one version to download here. So that looks really nice. Let's see how our second release is going. It's still working. So for app stores, you can, there's built-in roles for these, and we'll see these in the next webinar. You can designate who in your company has rights to be an administrator for the app store, and then you assign developer. So I'm working as a developer role here for Bill. So he cannot change the app store properties here, but you can see that he can upload modules. And then any module with his name here he can work on, but any other ones he's not going to be able to modify, just review. So here's my release done. Let's go, whoops, back to our app store. I didn't really need to refresh, but I will go to my news module here. And here I have two versions. So this is the only one published, but I could go ahead and unpublish one and then publish the other one, or I can have both of them published here. Push this. And again, you can view as a developer. So current version will always be here available at this button for download. But in the versioning tab, the person who comes in can download either version. So that is our new private app store. And again, you can make your private app store even public. Maybe share it with your partner. You can have many private app stores, and like I mentioned, that and all your Jahia instances could be attached to app stores. So that's what I wanted to show you in this webinar. Let's go back. I'll just leave that here. So what I want to do is open up to questions, and I will take a minute and gather some questions, and I'll come back online, and we'll answer those together. Maybe I can show you a few more things with Jahia. So please enter your questions on the QA panel, and I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. Thanks for sticking around. So unfortunately, there aren't a lot of questions, but someone did hint to the fact that they would like to work on a Jahia totally integrated, so a shared instance of Jahia with all the developers. And of course, the development server can be installed that way. What I wanted to show you in this webinar, how you can have all your different instances locally. So a developer can have their local instance, but the URL to that app store is the actual code repository that is shared by all developers. So that's the architecture there. And again, in the next webinar, we'll look a little bit closer at the app store, the administration part, okay? So I want to thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you on May 6th for part 3. Bye.